Hey, Kevin here, Skylabs, bringing you another video. Not the intended video we had this week. Unfortunately, we started editing and realized we were kind of going down the wrong path. So we asked our subscribers on YouTube which turntables they would like to see in a vintage tier list, and you guys really came through. You guys had a lot of really good suggestions, some that we probably would have missed, so we do appreciate that. You guys threw out a few that we've never worked on, I've never owned, I've never sold, and in that case, I didn't want to add them to the list, being that I would just be speculating on kind of what I've heard or, you know, what their reputation is via online. And we're going to post a link to the tier list we made. That way you can go and arrange this list the way you want. We'll also include a link to a Facebook post where you can post your list that you made, and then we can have a discussion about that too. So the turntable manufacturers that you guys came up with will all be available on the tier list. I just don't have them on mine, and there was only like 4 or 5 that I didn't want to include on the list. But everyone that was mentioned will be on the list for you to do. We hope you do a tier list yourself and post those up so everybody can see where everybody sits. Don't take this too seriously. This list really is just based on my opinions. I might not have had the flagships or some of the better models of some of these manufacturers. So, take it with a grain of salt. I'm going off the ones that I've owned or that I've worked on. Yeah, these lists are just for fun. This doesn't mean anything. I am going to be totally biased here. I might like something because of its looks. I might like something because of its repairability. I might dislike something for the same reasons. So I'd love to get your feedback on it. Definitely give us your comments because we will be reading them and going through them just to see where everybody else sits. And with that, let's start building this tier list and see what happens. This is going to be a lot of fun, so let's do it. Okay, and with this tier list, I'm just going to start in the top left, and I'm just going to work my way through. I might rearrange these as they get set, so... But yeah, they're not in alphabetical order. And starting with Harman Kardon. I've had several Harman Kardon tables. I usually like them a lot. I've never had one that was fully automatic. Most of the Harman Kardons I've had are, they call it an auto stop, where at the end of the record it will lift the tone arm and then stop the platter. And that is my preferred method in that I feel like there's less to go wrong with it. So I do like Harman Kardon's implementation of some creature comforts with the auto stop. The other thing that was cool with Harman Kardon, a lot of the turntables I've had came with record weight. Until I had discovered that, I kind of thought record weights were things from, were more modern. But turns out they've been around a little bit longer than I thought. So I like Harman Kardon tables. I'm going to put those in number 2. JVC. I like the looks of the JVCs. We've had some higher end models and they were built really well. I think majority of the JVCs out there are kind of midline to entry level, but they do look cool. They have an interesting look to them. I'm going to put JVC at 3. And then Kenwood. The first thing that comes to my mind with Kenwood would be the Rock. Really cool turntable, really well made, real heavy. I believe they're granite or some type of stone. Definitely heavy. Really cool table. They're going to go at 3 with JVC. Moving on to Onkyo. Most of the Onkyos I've had have been more entry level. They always seem to be working, which is, a good sign of a good build, regardless of, what price point they were shooting for. So Onkyo is going to go at 3 as well. Bic, I've only had a couple Bics, and I think they were both kind of entry level. They were kind of, I hate to say on the cheesy side, but they were a little bit on the entry level side. I don't think these sold as well in the States as maybe they did overseas. I believe this is an English brand. I think the B stands for British or Britain. You might have a really good Bic. I'm going to put them at 4 just from what I've seen. Kai. I've had a few Akai turntables, really well built, nice heavy build. Yeah, we'll put Akai there. B&O, I'm going to catch some slack for this. I am not a B&O fan. They are not repair friendly at all. The turntables, the amplifiers are, they're so streamlined that, their design is what kept them from being really repairable. Everything is, real sleek, and the housing is just, there's not a lot of space in there, so everything's crammed in. I do not like working on B&O turntables. We don't work on them. The other downside to B&O would be that if you need a cartridge, unfortunately, nobody is manufacturing them right now, and you have to have the tip re-tipped, and it's pretty expensive. So if you've got a working B&O turntable, kind of consider yourself lucky, being that when it does come time to replace that stylus, it's going to be a little bit expensive. So for that, I'm going to go with 4. That might change. I know some of you really love B&O turntables. For me, it's just the way it is. I always think, every time I see a B&O turntable, I kind of think of Christmas Vacation with Margot and Todd. I think that stereotype is a little bit on point. B&O was pretty artsy, and I think a lot of the people that bought those, they were kind of on the artsy side. So I know if you're a real B&O fan, I'm very sorry, but that's my opinion on it. Dual, I think, is one of the better tables ever made, especially when they're serviced. We happen to have a guy here in town, Bill Newman. He owns fixmydual.com. He is kind of a world authority in duals, and if you ever need dual repair or service done, definitely get a hold of Bill. Every time somebody brings in a dual turntable, I immediately refer them to Bill, because there's no point in us working on them when we have him here in the city with us. That I just refer everybody to him. There's no point in us touching one when Bill's around. So Dual made incredible turntables, especially, if you're looking for a turntable that, 1, plays 78s, or 2, record stacking. I know a lot of people shake their head at record stacking, but we do have some older folks that want to stack records, and they're their records to do with what they want. So anyway, Dual, great turntables. ELAC, which I believe is also Mirrorcord. I could be wrong on that. They're really well-made tables, the ones I've had. They're going to go in number 3. Empire. Ooh, that's a beauty right there. I love the design of these. I believe they had a lot of, they set a lot of records, at least with WoW and Flutter. I think when the Empire came out, nobody had been able to get the WoW and Flutter as tight as they did. So you really gotta tip your hat to Empire for some advancements that they made. Next, we got Fisher, and really depending on what era this is, because Fisher got sold when they became Fisher by Sears, and the quality kind of went downhill. So I'm gonna put them at 4. I don't think they're ever really known for their turntables, although I've seen a couple decent ones out there. Gerard, they're gonna go up on top. I actually have 2 301s. I've had those for a while. One of them has been completely refurbished by a guy in Idaho. I'm gonna look that up because I wanna give him credit for it. The guy at Woodsong Audio went through one of mine for me, and it turned out incredible. He did an amazing job. So if you have a 301 that needs to be serviced or overhauled, or a 401, I think he really deals with those early Gerards. He did a great job on mine, so I'm sure he would do the same for yours. I feel fortunate to have 2 of those turntables, because they are really nice turntables. Next, we got Hitachi. I've had a couple really decent Hitachi turntables. I'm going to put that at number 3. Kyocera. I've had a couple really nice Kyocera turntables too. Also, like the Harman Kardon, the turntable I had came with a record weight. which is really cool, and I think kind of ahead of its time, at least as far as I knew. So Lin, we all know that needs to go up here on top. I think the LP12 Lin Sondek is a pretty important turntable. Luxman, I've had a few Luxman, really nice turntables. They're going to go in the 3 range. Marantz, I don't think they made that many models. You know, the ones they did make were great. The 6300 is a really nice turntable. I don't think they were known for their turntables, but they did make some really good turntables. I'm tempted to put that in 2. It could go in 3. It's going to go in 2 for now. MCS, most of the MCS turntables that I've had, when you pull the platter off, it says Techniques under it. So I think most of the MCS were Techniques turntables rebranded. I know some of them are clones of SL23s. The same with Realistic. I don't remember any of them being really excellent. So MCS is going to go at 4. Microsiki, really nice turntables. I've had some really good ones. I've had some entry-level Microsikis, and they all work really well. I think they're probably going to go here for now. Mitsubishi, I had a wall mount linear tracking. I think it was like an LT15, something like that. Really cool, where it sat vertical. You'd put the record on it, have this arm that would come over and clamp the record down, and then the tone arm would come over and place itself on the record and then return itself at the end. That's one of my regrets, was selling that Mitsubishi, because it worked really good, and I haven't seen another one since. But I don't think they made a lot of models. At least I haven't seen many. So I think we're going to put them in 3 for now. Philips, really cool tables in the, what would be, early 70s, late 60s, kind of like a XA or a Thorns with the suspension. The only thing I don't like about the Philips, the touch start and stop, while it's a really cool feature and it illuminates when you touch it, they can be kind of a pain in the butt to work on. But nonetheless, really nice turntables. At least the ones I've had, the 212 and stuff like that. So that is going to go, we're going to put it in 3 for now. Pioneer, I love the PL50, PL41. I like the older ones with the big wood plinth on them. I think they just look amazing. I'm not a fan of the 530s. I think they're really over-engineered. They're hard to work on. The vinyl wrap is always peeling on every single one of them I get to some degree. They use really cheap vinyl wrap on those. So Pioneer's going to go down here for now. Realistic, same thing as MCS, in my opinion. I don't think they manufactured turntables. I think Techniques and maybe some other brands did their manufacturing and they rebranded. And I could be wrong on that, but Sansui. They're kind of like Marantz. Maybe they made a few more models than Marantz, but the models that Sansui did make are incredible in my opinion. I've had an 838 for a long time. I don't ever plan on selling that. I always wanted a 929. I've never seen one in real life. I've seen 717s, which are really cool. So Sansui is going to go here at 2. Sanyo. Unfortunately, a lot of the Sanyos we see really struggle. Motor problems, auto function problems. I've had some that are just completely unrepairable, at least for anything reasonable as far as labor goes. And for that case, we're probably going to go down here at number 4 for Sanyo. I like the looks of them though. They looked more impressive than they were. Sony made some incredible turntables. Really well built, heavy turntables. There's a couple models that you have problems with the touch sensor, which is unfortunate, or we've had trouble with those, but yeah, they're definitely going in 2. Some of their turntables are really, really nice. Acoustic Research has to go to number 1 tier. I don't think you can have a discussion about vintage turntables without talking about AR. The price point for what you got even back in the day was really impressive. Techniques, that goes to number 1. And for the 1200 alone, that turntable's responsible for starting a whole music genre. Without the 1200, there would be no hip hop. And so you have to give it credit for that. The 1100 is an incredible turntable. I mean, so many great turntables, 1500s, and they probably outsold every manufacturer on this list with turntables. So definitely a pioneer in the turntable world. Techniques. Thorns, that's going to number 1 too. So many good turntables, 160s, 165s, 125s. The fit and finish on those, you can just, it just screams quality. So, yep, Thorns number 1. Yamaha, I've had some really good Yamaha turntables. The YP series, they have faulty hinges. Like, you never see you never see like a YP 350 or a 300 with hinges that work. You very rarely find the dust cover because they got thrown away a long time ago. They're not the only company guilty of bad hinges. There is somebody on eBay that is making a kit so you can rebuild your hinges, which is nice. We actually have one on the floor right now for sale using that hinge kit. They're going to go here though. I don't think they're quite up there with 2. So Rega, I've had several P2s. They're great turntables. They really are. They're simple. That's what they did well, in my opinion. They just kept it simple, and that's good with a turntable because with some things, the simpler the better, and with a turntable, the simpler the better, in my opinion. So we'll put Rega up here. And then Denon. I love the styling of Denon. I think they killed it. Some of those turntables from the 80s look incredible. I know they're incredible. They're just really hard to work on. We don't service those. It's out of our league as far as turntable repair goes. But they are really nice turntables. I might catch some flack for this. Some people might think that might need to be at number 2. I'm going to put them at 3. And we'll give the list an overlook here and see where we're at. So Dual, Empire, Gerard, Lynn, AR, Techniques, and Thorns. Nothing needs moved there. Number 2 spot, we got Harman Kardon, Marantz, Microsiki, Sansui, Sony, and Rega. I think everything is good there. JVC, they did make some good turntables. No question. Kenwood made some really nice turntables, even over the Rock. I've seen some of their high-end turntables that are incredible. Akai, they had great turntables. Onkyo, ELAC, I'm not super familiar with them, but the couple I did have were really nice. Hitachi, nice. Kyocera, Luxman. I got a feeling if I'd experienced more Luxman turntables, I might be moving it up a notch, but I just haven't, so it's going to stay. Mitsubishi is good where it's at. Philips could go to 2 or stay at 3. Let's leave it at 3. Pioneer, it could go to 2. It's going to stay at 3. Yamaha, Denon. I think I might need to move. B&O up. Maybe I'm putting too much bias on it because I do know people really like those a lot, and I get it. You know, if you like that style, I just wish they were more repairable, and I wish you could buy a cartridge for them today. Is the only downside to B&O turntables, in my opinion. Bic, I just haven't had very many. I think I've only had 2, and they were, like I say, they were kind of entry level. So we're gonna keep Bic there. We're gonna keep Fisher there. We're gonna keep MCS there, Realistic, and Sanyo. Nothing ended up at number 5. I think that might be my list. I don't think I'm gonna move anything. I think I'm good. Once again, don't take this too seriously. It's just fun. This is just fun. I could probably rearrange this another time and it might come out a little bit different. I don't know. But go to the link. Make up your list. Take a screenshot of it and then post it to our Facebook account. We'll have a Facebook post that'll say, post your tier maker list here. And then everybody can get on and kind of discuss and see what everybody else picked too. It'll be interesting to see what other people come up with. So these lists are just fun. We'll have a regular video out next week, I'm sure. And thanks for sticking around. Thanks to everybody that's joined the YouTube membership. It's been really exciting to see people come in and join, and we really, really do appreciate that. So anyway, yep, check out the membership. Hope everybody's having a good week, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.